The truth, you want the truth, fine. The majority of you will not become a millionaire. And the reason is because you're not willing to do the things that you need to do in order to become one. Today, though, I'm going to go over some things that you need to actually do in order to have the best foundation in order to become wildly financially successful, regardless of your age. So there are certain things that I feel every single one of you should be doing if you are somebody that wants to ultimately develop FU money. Now, to me, FU money, I've talked about before, was $5,000. It was that amount of money in my bank account for the first time that I didn't think about money. I wasn't worried about how I was going to eat, put gas in my car, or pay my bills. But there's some other fundamental things that I personally feel are critical for you to actually do in order to ever become financially successful, not to mention responsible. Number one is stop hanging out with losers. I cannot stress to you how incredibly powerful and important this is, not only for your psyche, but your potential and your future. Because if you're holding on to these friends that aren't going anywhere, that aren't moving in the same direction that you want to go, they're going to continue to pull you down like a weight, as opposed to finding better friends. It is okay to outgrow somebody. It's also okay to outgrow a group of people. It's not that these people aren't cool. It's not that these people aren't like ride or die or awesome or you gotta hate them, but it's critical for you to find better friends that are gonna help uplift you and help you in terms of your mentality, your mindset, and help teach you what they've learned. Because that's one of the things that I learned. One of the single best things that ever happened to me was a friendship with Antonio Centeno. All right, he reached out to me and said, hey, I want to get together with you, come to VidCon. This was years ago. And while we're there, we might as well get some of these other guys in our space together and maybe have like a meetup. It was at a brewery. We called it StyleCon. The first one was called StyleCon. We ended up changing it to Menfluential. That was the point that I can identify and look back to that truly changed the trajectory of my life. It also basically helped me feel better, not only professionally, but personally, because now I had friends, people around me that I could go to, that got me, other entrepreneurs. But if you are consistently hanging out with those same losers, not that they're not awesome dudes, you are never truly going to be free financially. You're also not going to move in the right direction because they are going to hold you back. You need to surround yourself with people that are better than you, as good as you, or you all are moving in the right direction in order to lift each other up. Number two is stop drinking and doing drugs, stupid. Now, I'm not saying you can't go out and enjoy a glass of wine or a beer once in a while, because I do. But one of the things that I did was stop for a significant amount of time. And that is something that I can look back to and realize that, you know what? That was one of those decisions, those critical moments in my life that basically was defining. And it helped me move in the trajectory that I wanted to go financially. Because I wasn't drinking, I wasn't wasting money, my body looked better, I felt better. Every morning I'd get up and I was pumped up, I was excited. As opposed to when you're going out, doing things that you shouldn't be doing, sleeping with people you shouldn't be sleeping with, and hanging out with losers, you are never truly going to move forward in your life. If you clean up your shit, stop doing the drugs and the drinking, you're going to be amazed at how much more productive, how much more clear your mind is, and how much more focused on what you need to do you can be. The next thing I want to talk about is budget. Now, I've heard people talk about, oh, don't worry about spending $4 for a cup of Starbucks. It's no big deal. Treat yourself, which I truly think is accurate, but you gotta first know where you're starting from, which is the next thing. Until you understand how much money is coming in and how much is going out, it is impossible to get a handle on your finances. It's impossible to figure out how much extra money you've got to deploy to invest or put where you need to go in order to make money and actually have it grow and work for you to build long-term wealth and success. All right, you got to know where you're starting from. For me, when I was younger, I didn't have much money, right? I would basically just like hope. You know, hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a way that you're actually going to move yourself forward. How much money are you spending on credit cards buying shit that you don't need, right? Now, we'll get to credit cards in a second because that is something that I learned the hard way. But what is your budget? What is your income? And then what is the delta? All right, something that you can do. All right, two things that we spend the most money on is where we live and what we drive. All right, now, one of the problems with social media and looking at all the sexy things that other people are buying and doing and living this amazing life is it makes us think that we need to. And if we're not, then we failed and that we're losers. And the truth is, gentlemen, you gotta put your phone away. All right, that's another tip that I'll give you. but it didn't make my list. And that is spend less time on social media. Spend less time on TikTok. If you need to, remove it from your phone, remove Instagram. If you are somebody that incessantly, and be honest with yourself, right? If you just grab your phone and just start looking and scrolling and spending time, right? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? That is not going to move you forward. That is not going to add any value to your life. All right, the less time you spend on your phone or on the computer looking at the toxic shit, the better off you're gonna be and the better off your mind is gonna be. Think of it like this. If you want your body to be healthy, you gotta feed yourself good quality food. If you want your mind to be sharp and you wanna be able to accomplish incredible things, you've gotta feed your brain healthy shit. TikTok ain't healthy shit. Back to budget. Where you live and what you drive. Those two things are the areas in our life that we spend the most amount of money on. And if you're somebody that is thinking, oh, I need this like really nice building or drive this really nice car, if you can cut your expenses by 30%, 40%, if you can go from $2,000 a month in terms of rent to $1,500, or from a $600 car payment to a $350, you're gonna have so much extra cash to pay down your debt and invest, which is the next thing. Guys, if you've got credit card debt, you need to get rid of it. You got to figure it out. I don't want you investing in other places. I want you to pay down that debt, because the truth is that the interest that you're probably paying on that credit card bill is probably more than you'll make employing or deploying that money somewhere else, all right? You've got to pay down your credit card debt. You also need to simultaneously be working and make sure that you've got a high credit score. Your credit score is incredibly powerful and important. And if you expect to ever utilize other people's money or not get screwed, you've got to make sure that your credit score is high. Protect it with your life, because a high credit score is going to mean that you're going to get better deals, you're going to get better interest rates, people are going to lend you money if you need it, but if it's low, you're going to get screwed. That is one of the reasons why so many poor people stay poor. Their credit scores suck. This brings me to the next thing that you need to do if you want to be a millionaire, and that is learn about money. You know, one of the downsides of growing up poor without is that you're surrounded by other poor people, right? Money, it takes education, it takes learning, it takes you basically having a financial mentor. Now, the beautiful thing is that we have the internet, right? It's never been a more incredible time. You've got all the information that you need about money or learning about investing at your fingertips, but it's about you taking action and taking a role, an active role in your education. You know, you just sticking your head in the sand and just buying things on credit and not worrying about your credit score or not worrying about how much money you're making, it's not going to get it done, gentlemen. You got to make sure that you know what money does, how it works. You've got to learn how the system works if you expect to ever master the system. You know, think of money and finances as a game, right? If you just try to wing it and you don't learn strategies or tips, right, you're never going to be successful. But if you learn and understand how to invest, what investments are, what the stock market is, 401, like you've got to invest, you've got to understand, which brings me to the next thing, and that is using this excess cash to invest it. Now, how you invest it, this is totally up to you, all right? I'm not going to tell you how or what or anything like that. It's none of my business, right? Money is a very personal thing, but what is not is you utilizing this extra cash and deploying it in order to grow your wealth. That's how people get rich. It's not by saving. It's not by skimping on Starbucks. It's by using the excess money that they have at the end of the month and deploying it in areas that are going to basically allow other people to utilize this money to grow a business, and then as a return, they're going to pay you a dividend, gentlemen, or whatever it is. If it's real estate, it's real estate. If it's e-commerce, it's e-commerce. But you've got to start investing. And if you're not sure how to invest or where to invest, no problem. There's so many different resources out there. Something that I would recommend if you're looking to set up some type of investment account, Vanguard. Do your research, do your due diligence, but Vanguard is an incredible opportunity and an incredible company, and I'm not sponsored or affiliated by them. I don't even have a Vanguard account anymore, but I used to, right? Vanguard, the fees are low. You want to make sure that you're careful, though. You know, a lot of these financial advisors, you just got to watch your ass, because, you know, when they take a percentage of your assets, sometimes that's okay. A lot of people recommend going with a fee-based advisor if you're going to be seeking professional help, because they're going to get paid a fee as opposed to getting paid a percentage of assets or per trade. You've just got to start doing your due diligence. A good place to start is somebody that you know that has some money, that's been successful, and pick their brain. Ask them, say, excuse me, I'm trying to get into investing. I just don't know where to start. What would you recommend? All right, it's a great place. It's something that you can do, and it's something that's going to help you ultimately have $1 million or whatever that number is. $1 million is just a sexy number that a lot of people like to throw around and talk about, right? $1 million, right? Dr. Evil. But it's just, I think, a symbol. It's a symbol that you figured something out. It's a symbol that you are successful. And the last thing I'd just like to say, in terms of making a lot of money, you need to learn a high-value skill. All right, now, in terms of high-value skills, there are a lot of them. You can do your own research, lots of information out there. One that I have seen time and time again in terms of a skill that you can make a lot of money is sales. Being good at selling. Personally, I think sales is the #1 skill that you can develop if you're wanting to make a ton of money. There are a lot of courses online. I would not do something like a high ticket like don't do that, right? There are a lot of free information. There's tons of free information out there in terms of how to become a better salesperson, but sales is something that every company needs. And if you become good at it, if you sell something that's valuable or that people want, you can literally make as much money as you want. It's kind of like sky's the limit, honestly. But there are a lot of other skills out there that do provide a very, very, very nice living other than being an entrepreneur. You know, being an entrepreneur, starting a business, I think is great. I think I would recommend starting a side hustle, something that you're interested in, pull the thread, see if it works. If it doesn't, jump ship, don't waste too much time. Kevin O'Leary says 3 years, that's it. If it's not working by then, shoot the dog behind the barn because time is your most valuable asset. It's about trying, it's about exploring. Skillshare, another company that I've talked about before that I love. Skillshare is one of the greatest platforms out there because it allows you to try different things. It also has got courses on like everything. You know, everything from entrepreneurship, everything from, you know, selling, anything, and literally anything you can think of, not to mention like freelance and how to take your product to market and how to figure out what success looks like. Like, there's a gazillion courses. This is not in any way, shape, or form a Skillshare sponsor. I just love Skillshare and I love what it stands for. And I love that people can go and learn about things that they wouldn't necessarily have experience in. And it allows you to figure out what you're good at, what you don't like. The classes are all short, they're quick, they're easy. They've got, anyway, I'm not gonna keep pitching Skillshare. I do have a discount code. You get like a free 30-day trial. They sponsored the Alpha M channel, not this one. I'm gonna link it down below if you wanna grab it. I think they still have some of those free memberships. They were giving away like 1,000. Seriously, I think anybody who hits that link will actually get it. I think it's just a selling technique, like first 1,000 people. Anyway, Skillshare is the bomb. I love them. You're gonna love them. I'm gonna link to them down below. Something else that I love is you. I just want to do this video and talk a little bit about how to become a millionaire. Some of these things that I talked about, I wish I started sooner because if I did, I'd be further ahead. But unfortunately, I'm a slow learner. But the good news is that I try to share my experience with you so that you don't and can avoid some of the speed bumps that I've hit in my road to becoming a millionaire. Oh God, it sounds good though, doesn't it? You're amazing.